In this video, we're going to be talking about mastering mobilization. You're watching this video because either you are a team lead, you're a manager, or you want to become one. It is our job to mobilize our team. If our team are stagnant, if they're being inefficient, they're working hard, but they're not working smart, and we're not working together as a team, focused on our customers, focused on our common goal as a company, then it's our job to master mobilization. There are two ways to mobilize any team. Either we're going to be pushing our team or pulling our team. And as a leader, you need to balance these two acts. You need to discern when is the time to pull and when is the time to push. And at all times, you need to be checked in and not checked out. When you're on the shift, when you're working with your team, at all times, you're either pulling or you're pushing. The difference between pulling your team and pushing your team is this. Pulling is done methodically, it's well thought out, and it's done in a proactive way. Versus pushing your team is also, it's done methodically and it's thought out, but it's done in a reactive mode. So next we're going to talk about in a practical way how pulling versus pushing looks like in our restaurant setting. First, we're going to talk about pulling the team. And this happens in 3 phases. You're ultimately pulling your team in 3 different phases and at all times. Phase number 1 is upon arrival. So you need to have a game plan for each team member before they arrive. Once they've arrived and you don't have nothing to give them or what's the game plan, that's not the time to make a game plan. You're already late, and that is not good leadership. You need to have a game plan before people arrive. So as a team lead, as a manager, when you arrive, you need to, first thing you do is look up who's arriving when and when are they leaving, and also combine that information with the day of the week we're in and the tasks that need to get done on that day. Is it a Friday night? Because as you know, things are done different on a Friday night versus it's a Monday night, and there are different deep cleanings that need to be done, or as you know, the operations are going to be different. So you need to collect these data and combine them and come up with a game plan before each team member arrives. So imagine this is a morning shift, hypothetically, and a team member arrives and you have a game plan for them. So first thing you do, hey John, how's it going? Imagine it's John. Fantastic. I want to tell you what's going on today. We got a fundraiser tonight. It's going to be busy, so we need to prep a little bit more. So we got to make 3 batches of dough. Afterwards, I'd like you to make 4 buckets of cheese, and I need you to help me out with dishes, please. So that person knows exactly what are some of the things that they need to do. It's not just I'm doing dough, and afterwards when I can't, whatever it is. So they know I need to do this, and afterward this, and afterward this. And also there's an event going on tonight, and that's going to affect everybody in the day. In fact, probably 2 days before, right? That when we had to make the dough, we had to be prepped for it. But anyways, overall, the whole day, everybody's to be aware of the fact that we have an event and how that will affect everybody in the team, morning and evening. Imagine this person, John, he works every single day, and you're like, you know what? He knows what he's got to do. I don't need to tell him how many batches of dough he needs to make. I don't need to tell him what he needs to do. Then great. You don't tell your team member what to do. You ask them for them to communicate their game plan to you. So if a person has just started and they've not mastered managing themselves yet, you tell them what to do at all times. In fact, a game plan, and you have to follow up with them. But if someone has worked here for us for a while and they know what they need to do, then you need to ask them, all right, hey man, how many batches of dough do we need to make? You make the time, walk with them into the walk-in fridge. How many batches of dough do we need to? I think 2. Yep, you're right. We probably need 2. However, today is Wednesday, so do we need to make another extra batch because, we need that for Friday? Yeah, I think so. Fantastic. So we're going to need 3 batches of dough. How many buckets of cheese do we need to shred? And he's going to look and be like, 3. That sounds good. So 3 buckets of cheese. What else are you going to do? What else? What else? Make that person create that game plan of what they're going to be doing throughout the shift. So that's going to require communication and talking in a purposeful manner, that there is a purpose behind the communication where you're directing your team in a pulling manner. You're not pushing them. So that's one which again, it starts before that person arrives, the game plan, and this was phase 1 upon arrival. So phase 2 is mid-shift check-ins. As a team lead, as a manager, you must be checking in with your team all the time. One, you're observing them all the time, and you're doing a quick verbal check-in mid-shift to make sure we're on the same page and we're going to do what we set out to do. All right, let's talk about the third phase of pull. For instance, imagine I myself am making pizza, or I'm a Gem 5 hypothetically. Let's talk about I'm making pizza. I myself am making pizza, and John is making dough, and it's been an hour and a half. Hey, John, where are you at with the dough? And he's gonna be like, oh, I'm almost done with my second batch. Fantastic. I really need you to wrap that up fast because I'm running out of my stretched dough and I'm falling a little bit behind. Please pick it up, or whatever it is. Or, oh wow, you're already done with your third batch? Way to go, man. So if you're not doing these check-ins, how are you going to kudo or coach and correct? You need to be aware at all times as a team lead what is going on under your nose. You do these quick check-ins. If I'm a Gem 5, I need to be like, hey Susan, what's our status with our deep cleaning? Oh, I already did bathrooms and I'm working on that. Oh, okay, you are a Gem 4, so are you keeping an eye on the dining room? Yes, I am. Fantastic, great. So wrap that up or whatever. Or they've done it fast or they're not keeping up. You need a kudo or you need a coach and make sure that, again, we're on track to do what we set out to do. Let's talk about the third phase of pulling your team as a way of mobilizing your team, and that is your end of the shift procedure or affair you got going on. End of the shift is not the minute just shift ended. If I need to leave at 4, or hypothetically I need to leave at 8 p.m., the time that you need to do a check-in for the end of the shift is not at 7:59, but rather 15 minutes before 8, so we can connect any loose ends, or whatever that term is, you know what I'm talking about. So here's how it's going to go. So it's 15 minutes till the end of the shift, and I'm like, hey John, so did we do the 3 batches though? Yes, we did. Fantastic. How many buckets of cheese did we shred again? 3. Great. Did you finish up all the dishes? Yep, I'm wrapping it up. Fantastic. And I'm going to come in and be like, yep, you're doing a great job, or whatever. Imagine like 15 minutes till the end of the shift. Oh, I'm already done with dishes. I'm like, oh great. I walk with that person and I check that the sink is a bunch of food and stuff everywhere around it, or there are 2 dough sheets that are not done. Hey man, you got to do this thoroughly. If you don't do it, you're passing it to someone else on the team for the dinner shift, hypothetically, or whatever it is, or the morning shift or whatever. And we need to do a thorough job. We need to work with excellence and be a good team player. So please clean this up and also finish up these 2 dough sheets. Finish it up really fast. 3 phases, very quick. It's before that person arrives, we have a game plan. Then obviously upon arrival, we communicate the game plan. Mid-shift, we're going to do these check-ins, which are quick communications that we want to make sure we're on track to do what we set out to do. And end of the shift, that indeed we did everything that we set out to do. Either we did a fantastic job, so that's time to kudo your team, or hey man, tomorrow we got to do this or we got to do that, so we're coaching them. And that is your pulling method for mobilizing your team. First, now let's talk about pushing your team. As I already mentioned, pushing happens more in a reactive manner. And so let's talk about an example of it. It's a Friday night. We all know that it's going to be busy. And we all know that it was going to be busy, but we're still a little bit behind. In other words, our ticket times are high. Maybe we're out of dough that is stretched. Obviously, it could be the oven's fault. But imagine it's something that's in our control, that we need to pick it up. We need to move faster, hypothetically. First off, you need to seek that information, or you need to figure out, you need to look as the pizza's being cut and taken to the front, or the Gem 5 comes back and tells us that the ticket times are high. Because you need to be knowing that information because you're the team lead. So when that happens, it is your job as a team lead or the manager to push your team in an encouraging way. And this is how, for instance, it could be like, hey guys, our ticket times are high. We got to pick it up. Let's stretch some dough, like whatever it is, let's pick it up. Let's pick up the time. We got this. Let's go. Everybody needs to be focused, and you need to push them the last stretch. Everybody's doing their best. Everybody's sweating, and it's hard. It's the last, half an hour that before we get through the rush. You need to push your team and encourage them, and you need to believe that we can do better, and that's how you're pushing them, because we can do better, and that's part of pushing your team. So you're always either pulling or you're pushing, and a combination of both as a team lead or a team manager. And that requires talking, communication. And for you to be able to talk in a purposeful way, you need to be aware of what it is that we're measuring, which is our ticket times or our mistakes or different standards that we have. So again, we will do what we set out to do as a team. Last but not least, it's always important to follow up and a push method. So you're pushing your team to do something, right? And then at the end, you need to be at the end of the shift, you take just a minute. Hey guys, we were falling behind, but good work. Everybody picked it up. I know it was hard. Everybody was sweating and stuff. Good work. I was pretty impressed with that. I thought our ticket times were out of whack because we were this and this and this, but we pulled it off. Good work. That's it. You do need to follow up and close that, whatever it is. So you're pushing and you have a follow-up at the end. Same as with the pulling. That's why at the end of the shift, you have a quick conversation, follow-up to, all of that, because that matters and that's part of our communication. So folks know I was doing this, I was corrected or kudos or whatever, and what was the final result and how that affected ultimately our customers. The most important thing is not you communicating, but you overly communicating. As you know, over communication is twice in our core values. So you need to be constantly communicating with your team, not only what they need to be doing, what's the game plan, or we have an event and all that, also what you are going to be doing. Hey man, just so you know, I'm measuring all the temperatures here. I got to work on the schedule a little bit, or I'm working on the inventory, and afterwards, let me know if you need my help, blah, blah, blah. So people know that what it is that you're doing. If you're sitting in the office, people are thinking you're just fooling around, or are you on your phone, what it is that you're doing, versus you, and that's your fault, because you're leaving it to their imagination what it is that you're doing. Correct? So you need to be communicating not only what they need to do, what's the game plan for them, but also what are you doing? I'm measuring this, or I need to do inventory. It's already getting late. I got to pick that up, man. Thank you for doing this. I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. So-and-so is this. We have one driver on the shift, and we have 2 orders scheduled. One is at this, one is at that. Communicate the whole thing, what is going on in the whole kitchen or the whole front, so everybody knows what's going on, and there's no room for doubt or for them assuming things. So over communicate. Last but not least is the importance of documenting things. That's why we have the logbook. That's why we pay extra for the logbook feature. So you can identify patterns as a leadership team. So-and-so needs what coaching, or so-and-so doing a great job, or whatever it is. So you need to document your different findings of what happened. Hey, we did not know that there was a fundraiser in the dinner shift, and that's why we were not able to keep up this, and that was tremendously stressful, right? So you need to communicate that to other leads so we can all work together, because not only you as a lead, you need to communicate and mobilize and all that, you need to be communicating, in fact, over communicating with the leadership team as a whole, in the kitchen and also in the front and together and with Matthew and I. So there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of communicating, and that is hard. It takes effort, it takes you being aware, it takes you putting the time and not be checked out, and that is what it takes to be a good leader. So we're all working on these different things that we're talking about. No one has mastered it, and we're all every day trying to get better and better in leading our team and working on our character and our leadership skills. Thank you for being a team lead. I hope that this information was useful, and if you have any feedback about all that, let us know.